We at Westridge want to invite you to celebrate communion with us this coming Sunday. And we recognize that it's going to be a little different because we are in our own spaces. And so we wanted to give you time to make preparations. So the first preparation you will need to do is to gather what we need to celebrate. And we just want to be clear that we don't think there's anything special about what kind of bread or what kind of drink you gather. All of these things, whatever you choose, are just symbolic, and they help us enter into a word picture, a living word picture, to be able to remember what the Lord's Supper is all about. So speaking of remembering, as I was reading through the communion passages this week, I noticed that Luke includes something, a phrase, that the other writers left out. So let me read for you. He writes, "And Jesus took bread, gave thanks and broke it, and he gave it to them, saying, 'This is my body given for you.' And then he adds, 'Do this in remembrance of me.'" So that's what's different. Do this in remembrance of me. And this got me thinking, what does Jesus want us to remember when we break the bread? So traditionally, breaking the bread helped the Jewish people to remember back to the original Passover when God had rescued them and they had to leave very quickly from Egypt. And so they had to take this bread that hadn't had time to rise. But now Jesus is infusing a new type of meaning into the symbol, the act of breaking bread. And as he is introducing this new idea to his disciples, it just made me wonder, I wonder if they were thinking back to the first time and then the second time that Jesus asked them to feed thousands of people. And I wonder if they looked at these crowds and just thought, how on earth are we going to be able to do this? I wonder if they felt powerless. I wonder if they felt useless. I wonder if they realized how much they needed him. And then it didn't take long before Jesus stepped in and basket after basket started filling with bread. And as it did, I wonder if their panic turned to amazement and awe, and maybe a little bit of relief as Jesus provided. Not long after Jesus fed the thousands, the crowds came rushing after him. They wanted more bread. And Jesus answered them by saying, "I am the bread. I am the life. If you come to me, you will not be hungry." When Jesus was instituting this new idea of communion, of the Lord's Supper, I wonder if his disciples were thinking back to the first time they heard him say that he was the bread of life. Is this part of what we are to remember? Does taking the bread help us to recognize our inability to do what only Jesus could do for us? Does it help us to recognize that with man it is impossible, but with God all things are possible? Is eating the bread a way to confess and remember that we cannot right what was broken way back in the garden, even though we've been trying for thousands of years? And is it an admission, an acceptance that only Jesus' body, broken for us, could accomplish that? So as you prepare for communion this Sunday, I just want to invite you, in addition to gathering the items that you're going to need, I just want to invite you also to evaluate your heart and take some time to ask those questions. Are you in a place where you are ready to admit that you need a Savior, that you need Jesus' body broken for you, that you can't do it all? Or is there something that you're trying to hold on to, that you're demanding the right to rule, that you want to be able to be the decider in your life? May we become a people who are willing to remember and then rely on Jesus' body broken for us.